Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Going for Two Sports Podcast. So today we are going to be covering our takes on the Houston Texans and their offseason moves and how this will affect their outlook on the season. Also, we will be taking a look at possible landing spots for Cam Newton. Before getting started, I just want to remind you guys to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Okay, so do you guys think the Texans are a playoff team next year after trading wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals?
Maybe at the 7 or 6 seed, but probably not. They are not in the strongest division as the Colts and Jaguars already have their issues, but the Titans will be the toughest challenge, and I feel that the Titans are the stronger team behind Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. The Texans, they have a really good quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who I think is really underrated in the media's eye. Watson is a scrambler-type quarterback that truly balls out when it comes time for prime time. At running back, Duke Johnson was good last year, and he can be used both in the running and passing game, in screens, wheels, angles, etc. Unfortunately, he is more of a third down back, so that is why they traded for David Johnson, who had a really great rookie season back in 2015, but has been plagued with injuries throughout the rest of his underperforming career.
Ian, can you address the wide receiver core of the Texans, especially with additions such as Kenny Stills and Brandon Cooks, as well as the departure of DeAndre Hopkins?
At wide receiver, Kenny Stills, who they traded for with the Dolphins last year, is a speedster that provides both in the deep game and short game. He had a solid first year with the Texans, but was the number 2 or sometimes number 3 receiver behind Hopkins and Will Fuller. Fuller, when healthy, is a great deep threat that scores consistently, but he is injury prone. Texans did just get Brandon Cooks from the Rams, which is a good get. Cooks was the number 1 receiver for the Rams and will probably be the number 1 receiver for the Texans this year. Going to the defensive side of the ball and onto the big guys in the trenches, they still have the almighty J.J. Watt, who just has the ability to blow by or bull rush any offensive lineman to get to the quarterback in the backfield. Unfortunately, they did lose the big defensive tackle DJ Reader in free agency, and he will be on the Bengals. At the linebacker position, Whitney Merciless is still there. He's really good at tracking down the ball and sacking the quarterback. In the defensive backfield, Bradley Roby is a solid DB. Last season, he had 2 interceptions and 8 passes defended, and he just has a great competitive drive that keeps him involved and close to any receiver. Justin Reed, Eric Reed's younger brother, plays at the strong safety position and has the ability to play really good in man coverage and zone. Last year, he also had 2 interceptions and 7 passes defended.
What's your take on the subject? Do the Texans make the playoffs next year?
The Texans always have a good chance at making the playoffs, as we've seen for the past 5 years, and it's partly because the AFC South is a notoriously weak division, aside from the Titans this year, as Ian said. The Texans are very set at quarterback. I love Deshaun Watson's great playmaking ability, and their wide receiver, although they traded Hopkins, they are also set at wide receiver. They are okay at their running back position and their secondary. Where I see a large problem for the Texans is their defensive line. I mean, J.J. Watt is a leader, but he is aging very fast, and he really can't consistently produce through injuries. I mean, we all love him, but a tibial plateau fracture in 2017 put him on IR for 11 months, and he really didn't come back and play the same afterwards. And he also had a knee strain in 2019, which required surgery and bothered him throughout the whole season, which severely impacted his stats. One of the most injury-prone players in the league. I don't see Watt being really good for this defense. He's just going to hinder their defense. And as Ian noted, the Texans lost DJ Reader. I just see the Texans as a Walmart version of the more designer brand Chiefs. I mean, they both have a high-flying passing offense, and the offense really rarely relies on the run game. They have a very strong secondary. I mean, the Texans have an average secondary, unlike the Chiefs. But both of the defenses lack in the run. Wow, now with the Texans are losing motivation fast compared to the Chiefs. The Texans have lost Hopkins, which was a leader, and I see them losing Watt in a couple of years too. And on top of that, the team can't even trust their organization and coach Bill O'Brien after the Hopkins trade. The Texans are really going to be dragging themselves throughout the regular season because they're most likely going to face losses to the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Vikings, the Packers, and they play the Titans twice, which is going to be very hard. They also have pretty hard games against the Steel Curtain Steelers, the Browns, and the Patriots. Their schedule was the 8th highest in regards of strength of schedule for 2020.
Interesting takes, guys. I can't say that I agree 100% with them, though, because personally, I cannot see this team making the playoffs. I mean, a lot would have to go right for this team to find their way into the playoffs. I mean, even without Hopkins, this team had major flaws, including the secondary, the O-line, and honestly, they've over-relied on Deshaun Watson for the past couple of years now, and these flaws really got exposed last year against teams like the Ravens and the Chiefs in the playoffs. With the team structure, I definitely have to agree with Ohm because Bill O'Brien is just not a good coach in the NFL or a good GM, as we saw with his horrific offseason. And combine all of these factors that I mentioned with a more competitive division, and this team is just out of the playoffs. I think the division has gotten better since the Titans have proven their potential last year, and I think the Colts can make the playoffs with quarterback Phillip Rivers. Overall, I think this is just a mediocre team with an A-plus quarterback. Watson has been carrying this team for the past several years, and without his best weapon in Hopkins, I don't see him dragging them to the playoffs yet again. On the other end of the trade spectrum, how much do you think the Cardinals benefit from this Hopkins trade? Are they a playoff team next year?
The Cardinals have caught my eye since they drafted Oklahoma quarterback Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray has Pro Bowl and beyond potential. Even as a rookie, Kyler faced multitudes of pressure, but he still stepped up as a leader of the team. And even though passing for 3,772 yards, matched with a 20-12 touchdown to interception ratio is subpar. I mean, for a rookie, it is very good. I mean, he did win the Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. His 87.4 QB rating matched with a 64.4 completion percentage show a large flash of the potential this young star can show. I mean, the Cardinals' offense is stacked. They are loaded with weapons, and the new addition of Hopkins brings a number one receiver to the team. There are holes on defense, but Isaiah Simmons, their newest rookie, can play many, many roles to help this defense stay afloat. They are playing in a very hard division, as Ian will note, but the Cardinals are in a battle for the 7 or 6 seed. I see them fighting the Bucs for these last 2 spots.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. This team is going to be a very fun team to watch next year. Ian, what's your thoughts?
Absolutely yes. Much more than the Texans. The Cardinals have their franchise quarterback in Kyler, who was Rookie Offensive Player of the Year last year. They have a great running back in Kenyon Drake, who they received from the Dolphins as well, who brings speed and amazing agility. They needed a true number one receiver, as Larry Fitzgerald is just really old and Christian Kirk has not gotten to his full potential yet. Hopkins provides that best wide receiver and will bring his all in the tough division. Kyler will now have a viable option at the receiver position. Most likely Hopkins will be the new most targeted receiver playing on the outside. Kirk will probably move into the slot receiver role and can still be used in the run game with sweeps. I don't think the Cardinals will make the playoffs this year. They are in the same division as the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Rams, who aren't as good as they have been in the past years. This may be the hardest division in the NFL. And with the being in that division, the Cardinals may not have a winning record this year, but will have a better record than last year and probably closer to 500.
Like Ohm, I have the Cardinals making the playoffs. Since the end of last season, I considered them a dark horse to make a run to the playoffs in the 2020 season. Kyler Murray is a great mobile quarterback, and he already had pretty good weapons to steer the offense last year. Their defense and O-line, 2 great weaknesses, were greatly improved in the draft. And of course, the largest addition was Hopkins, who is one of the premier receivers in the league. Like Ian said, they are an extremely tough division, in my opinion, the toughest division in the NFL this year. However, I think the Cardinals will pass the Rams in the standings this year, and they have the potential to upset the 49ers and the Seahawks, the two elite teams of the division. To me, the addition of Hopkins just confirms my theory that they would be a surprise team, and his addition brings them to the playoffs as either a 6 or a 7 seed in the 2020 season. That completes our first topic of this segment, so now on to the next topic. What do you guys think about Cam Newton's future? Are there any possible landing spots that you think he might end up with?
For Cam, there are multiple potential landing spots. I have 4. 1. The Patriots. The Patriots don't have a lot of solid depth at the position, with Jarrett Stidham at the starting spot right now, and their backups being Brian Hoyer, the veteran, and Brian Lewerke, the rookie out of Michigan State. The Patriots are probably the least likely of the landing spots, as Cam and Belichick just don't seem like a match made in heaven. Honestly, they're like complete opposites. They could have signed him already, but have not, probably due to Cam's personality and or injury history. My second is the Jaguars, as the Jaguars did lose Nick Foles in free agency, but he didn't really play though. So Minshew is not the quarterback for the next 10 years. He did have a promising rookie campaign with 3,271 pass yards, 21 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. But the Jaguars don't have good depth at the position with Josh Dobbs and 6th-round pick from Oregon State, Jake Luton. Cam could even be the potential starter for this Jaguars team if he was in the roster. I then have the Seahawks as his potential landing spot, as Russell Wilson has no confirmed backup for this upcoming season. The depth chart has Geno Smith or Anthony Gordon being the second and third string. Cam could sign as the backup and could play with a Russell Wilson injury, which is kind of rare. The Chargers are my 4th and final potential landing spot. Tyrod Taylor is the current starter, but the Chargers did draft Justin Herbert in the 1st round with the 6th pick, and Herbert is the number 3 ranked quarterback in the 2020 draft class. They could sit and prep Herbert for the future, but could use Newton as a backup or starter for 2020 as insurance. For Cam's future, Newton deserves to be a starter in this league. When healthy, Newton is a fierce dual threat that is a top 15 or even top 10 quarterback in the league. Cam has been working extremely hard in rehab and the offseason, putting in the work. He only started/played in the first 2 games of this past NFL season, which he went 0-2 in those games. He claims he is better than ever, and I expect him to be fierce in the next couple of seasons when he appears. Personally, Cam should not sign with anyone for a backup position, and he should just sit out and wait till a starter gets hurt in the upcoming NFL season.
The 2 teams I think Cam could have an immediate impact on are the Patriots and the Steelers. I mean, Bill Belichick seems like he will only have a few years left with the Patriots organization, so it seems likely that he would favor to win now. And there are rumors of a tank for Trevor Lawrence, but I really don't see an organization as large and as notable as the Patriots tanking purposefully. And the quarterback market also isn't the best on free agency wise. That's where Cam Newton comes in. Assuming he's healthy enough next year, he would definitely be a much better option than the young Stidham, and definitely better than Brian Hoyer. I mean, Big Ben, when you think about the Steelers, Big Ben, he is coming back. However, he is a less than mediocre quarterback. I think the injury will just stunt his stats. And if the Steelers want to bring this organization back to full promise, signing a former MVP who still has more years than Big Ben is a pretty smart move.
I agree with you, I think the Steelers are a viable option for Cam Newton. Do you think he will sign as a backup by the start of the season? Personally, I think he will not sign as a backup in the offseason, but once the season starts and quarterback injuries mount for certain teams, he will be signed. Teams like the Patriots, who are starting an unproven rookie quarterback this season, may sign Newton if the rookie quarterback does not pan out. To me, it is more than likely that he will sign to replace an injured quarterback, especially if it is a long-term injury. He does have 2 major drawbacks that are probably preventing him from being signed now. which are his personality and attitude and his injury history. Teams are not looking to add any drama to their teams, which they might get in adding Newton. And he has injury history throughout his career, including the ankle and the shoulder. I just can't see him signing as a backup just to sit for a while waiting for playing time. Do you think Cam Newton signs as a backup?
I think it really does depend on the team that wants to sign him. Like, does the team really want to sign him? Or is it just kind of like, okay, we'll sign you just as another backup role and as insurance? But honestly, he should wait out, as I've mentioned before. Cam can straight out ball, as we have seen in some of his seasons, including his MVP year in 2015 and the first half of the 2018 season, which was abruptly ended due to a major shoulder injury caused by a helmet shot from TJ Watt.
I completely agree with both Ian and Jack.
All right, interesting takes, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this segment on the Texans' future and Cam Newton's future. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and take a look at other segments on the channel. Thanks for watching.